Hello and welcome to Renuka Shahane to Tiffin Talks. Thank you so much, Renuka. You of the beautiful smile and the wonderful movie that you've made, Tribhanga. My
Thank you.
congratulations. It's a very difficult movie to have made, so really you have my appreciation.
Thank
I
you so
wanted
much.
and I wanted to ask you, Renuka, right away, because motherhood has been put on such a pedestal in Hindi movies, especially. So, how
Yeah.
tough was it to break that whole idea that the woman and the mother, cannot be possibly flawed in any way? She has to be perfect.
Yeah, actually, that is the starting point of Tribhanga. That these women who have made unconventional choices are also, by the way, mothers and who
Mm,
are, incredibly flawed, and who also realize and, feel the regret for
right.
some of the things that they have chosen. There are others for which they have absolutely no regret. And so, therefore, these characters in themselves are pretty unique. You've seen characters of a single woman perhaps
Mm,
having leading an unconventional life, looking back to her own frailties, but to have three of them kind of making very different choices was something that I really wanted to work at. And luckily for me, the core being the emotions. I mean, I kept it to the fact that it was all woven together in an emotional way. That is why I think it appeals to a lot more people, rather than if I had made it, slightly more clinical, perhaps.
mm, mm,
So I think you can relate to
mm,
them. They might not be your mothers,
mm,
but you can relate to characters like that because
mm,
of the kind of emotions that they go through.
mm.
And I realized when I read it out to my husband that this is going to work, because you know he really responded extremely well to it, and
Mm,
he thought that it was very nuanced.
mm,
And that's when I got the confidence to kind of send it to my mother, and she also responded very beautifully to it.
mm.
So that's the way I felt confident about the rest.
I'm glad you brought in your mother because I want that was going to be my next question. You know, you are Shanta Gokhale's daughter, and I mean, she's
Yeah.
an enormous pop culture phenomenon. You know, and she's been quite frank about her own frailties in her memoir
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the most candid memoirs I've read. Was it
Right.
difficult for you to read those, and did you disagree at some point with those? And was this also your way of, looking back at your past, or is this not autobiographical at all?
No, I must say that a lot of instances are semi autobiographical,
Hmm.
not happening in perhaps the same manner,
Hmm.
but definitely taken from my life.
Hmm.
And I have lived with my mother, who has really made some extremely unconventional choices,
Yeah.
and lived without any regret. And but I have always seen her, and this is something that she has shared with me from my childhood, that she has doubts, and she's not a know-it-all.
Hmm.
She does make mistakes, and she has kind of included me in that journey very often. So we share an extremely close relationship, and I have gone through a lot of her traumas with
Hmm.
her as her companion
Hmm.
and confidant, and so has she with mine.
Hmm.
And so my perspective about mothers is that you cannot just have unidimensional mothers who
Hmm.
are just um, uh, um, kind of like a helicopter all around the members of the family. That is
Right.
not my impression of my mother, and
Mm,
I have an extremely close relationship. And so the
right.
core for me is my relationship with my mother. The way I have been brought up and
Right.
who I am today, I really owe a lot to my mother. For that kind of upbringing. But I was just thinking that suppose that core was a bit off
Right.
center, and suppose I didn't get along with my mother, then what?
Ah,
Would I have been so centered?
right.
Would I have
Oh,
been so centered? would I not have been slightly Tribhanga?
Okay, so that was the starting point.
So that was the
Oh,
starting point. And the starting point also was a trigger by what somebody, an acquaintance of mine had said, very casually, many years ago. Like, I mean, it stayed with me because it was so difficult for me to grasp at that time. That the acquaintance had got recently married, and she just mentioned that, I hate my mother, so I'm really very happy that I've left my premarital home, and I'm not going to have this whole concept of Micah and all. I'm escaping it. And I was so shocked that
uh,
anybody could have that kind of relationship of such rancor with their mothers.
right,
That was also something that I took from.
right. You
Yeah,
know, it's so interesting that uh, that relationship where you have shared so much of your mother's life and she has shared in yours. uh, how did it inform your own parenting? And then of course we'll come to the
yeah,
movie as well, but how did it inform
yeah.
your own parenting?
Kaveri, even though I have a very close relationship with my mother, there are definitely certain things that I have reacted against
Right,
while making my choices.
right,
So that also is reflected in Tribhanga, I think,
right,
because there are some things that you definitely feel as children that
right.
one can do better. It's a very stupid thought actually, because there is no
No, but
such thing as it
yeah,
can
but
be
a lot of
different.
yeah, but a
But
lot of
yeah,
children feel that, no?
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
And even with the best of relationships.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so if, there are some things that you definitely hold against the parents, they've, kind of
Absolutely.
gone wrong a bit in this.
Right.
So, when it comes to your own children, you want to do it slightly differently.
Hmm.
And of course, in my life also, I try to imbibe the same values in my children because I hold them very dear, and I think that's something that my mother excelled in, like
Hmm.
the kind of values she passed on to me. Uh, but and also the value of independent thought is
Hmm.
something that she really valued and passed on to me. So
Hmm.
that's something that I definitely pass on to my children.
Hmm.
But there are other things that like, I'm slightly less disciplined because I used to feel that, oh my God, I'm sort of in a very disciplined household, and it's
Hmm.
almost like a pressure to be correct
Hmm.
and on time and like
Hmm.
very disciplined. And
Hmm.
I'm a bit lenient with my children where that is concerned. So so there are things that I have wanted to imbibe, and there are others that I have reacted against.
Right.
Yeah. So
But at no point were you like Mithila in the movie, where in a way you react against the complete, uh, in a
yeah,
way, quite a libertarian life, perhaps, that
yeah.
the mother in the movie leads, and she sort of
Right.
reacts against it in a very
Yeah,
different way. She
yeah,
becomes quite conservative and accepting of a
yeah,
conservative family. Did
yeah.
that did that dynamic also affect you?
I think so because I consider myself closest to Masha in my choices.
Hmm. I thought
I
as
mean,
much.
yeah, because I think that Nayan is somebody that I would actually love to be.
Hmm.
I would love to be Nayan.
Yeah. We would
But
all love to be Nan, no?
yeah, a room of one's own.
Yeah,
Why not?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think where Anu is concerned, she's definitely somebody I feel more and more who is like my thought bubbles. I
Ah,
mean, the uncensored things I think of
huh.
is
It's,
Anu for me.
yeah,
And
because there's no filter
yeah,
there.
there is no filter, and one can't really behave like that. I mean,
Yeah.
at least I would not value myself if I start behaving like that, because
Hmm.
I do feel that sort of dialogue and compassion and kindness in real life is very, very important.
Hmm.
So that's not somewhere I see myself in terms of behavior,
Hmm.
but I can understand Anu very much. I
Hmm.
know where she comes from. And Masha is somebody who is very, very much like me, trying to balance, trying
Balance.
to keep everybody happy, and having a, kind of family with
Right.
where the children have father, mother, and extended family also, cousins
Right.
and stuff. So
Right.
yes, it's a, but I have seen the pitfalls of that kind of family also, and that's where I feel that there is no such thing. as a perfect family. If you've
Right.
made certain choices for your kids are going to turn around and say, I wish you hadn't been,
Right.
part of this setup, and,
Right.
like Nani, perhaps.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, essentially, I think motherhood is a thankless job. But do you
Quite.
still find joy in it?
I love it.
Huh.
Actually, I mean, if you asked me my ambition as a child, or, as growing up also, it was never that I would like to be a psychologist or a clinical, psychologist, which I trained for. But I
Right.
have always
You're
wanted,
trained to be a
yeah,
psychologist.
yeah, I've done my master's in clinical psychology.
Okay. Where was
It's
that from, Renuka?
Mumbai University. So
Okay.
I did my BA from St. Xavier's College,
Hmm.
Mumbai, and then I
Right.
went on to Kalina to do
Right.
my master's in clinical
Right.
psychology. And I would have done my PhD if I hadn't taken a break and gone
Right.
on to do circus. And circus changed my
Yeah.
perspective, and I became an actor
Yeah.
professionally.
Right. Right.
So what I'm saying is that, at that time I would just say that I wanted to have a lot of babies. That seemed to be my ambition. And now
Really?
I'm living that dream because I have two wonderful, no longer babies.
Yeah. And they're both boys, which is
Yeah, they're both
interesting.
boys.
Which is interesting. I wonder what it would have been like if you had
I
had
know.
daughters.
In my childhood, I was surrounded by women, which I
Right.
loved. Very, very strong women, whether it was my nani, my masi, my mother, and even the women who worked for us had a very, very strong, kind of
Yeah.
personality. And now suddenly I'm surrounded by men. Sometimes I feel very lost.
I can imagine. I have the same kind of dynamic at home. But how old are your boys, Renuka? And I wonder how they reacted to this movie.
My elder one is 18 and my younger one is 16.
Lovely.
So the younger one reacted very happily to the interaction between Anu and Milan. I think he found that most interesting.
Okay.
And, the kind of witty
Yeah.
repartee that
It's
goes
like
on between
a
them.
knock choke
Yeah,
kind of
no
thing.
joke, yeah. And the volatile nature of Anu, I think he liked that a lot. While
Hmm.
my elder one was very sensitive, I think he loved Nayan the most, and he was very sensitive to Nayan
Hmm.
because he was very affected by her passing in the film.
Okay.
And he told me, as a writer, couldn't you have done anything to save her?
Okay. That's quite
So
sweet.
that's
Is he
really
close to
very
your
sweet.
mother?
Oh yes. Oh
That may
yes.
explain it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's completely like, I think both my kids are very, very close to my mother.
How did your mother react to it, Renuka, as a writer and as a mother?
Uh, I think she was very partial to me. Let me say she's not been able to be very critical about it. And I would put it down to, her motherhood or her love for me.
Right.
Though I have always through life heard a very balanced criticism of all my work from her, and
From
even
your TV,
regarding my scripts.
cinema, everything.
Yeah, 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 yeah. About everything, even my acting, she puts it in the right perspective. So at home, like, critics can't tell me anything that I've not heard at home, which is
Yeah, she's
great.
the best critic in the
She's
world
the best.
anyway.
And even I am so overcritical of myself that, if the critics have said something bad about it, I have said it to myself thousand times. That's a great thing. That's a very grounded way of looking at oneself.
Right,
You know.
right, right.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but I think in this case, she really felt for me as a writer and director, and she felt for all the characters on screen. So she really liked the film.
hmm. It is wonderful. What has the reaction been to it, Renuka? Has any of it surprised you? Because we're so used to seeing perfect mothers. That's a burden that all of us carry as well.
Yeah.
Because we are expected to conform to that
Yeah, yeah,
image.
yeah.
It's such a burden.
And no, the most surprising thing for me has been that people have been so non-judgmental about the mothers I've shown in the film.
Right.
They've actually been non-judgmental, which is what I wanted them to be,
Exactly.
non-judgmental. And the kind of responses that I have got from a wide range of people and ages is that, sometimes people coming up and saying that, I now recall, but now it's too late because I've lost my parents and I can't make amends.
Hmm.
But I realize certain things. And people have responded in terms of having a cathartic sort of feeling.
Right.
People have responded and said that it made us thoughtful about our own relationships with our children. And a lot of people have just reacted to it completely emotionally,
Hmm. Hmm.
that they were heartbroken. Some have requested me to make Tribhanga too and get Anu and Raghav together, the romantic kinds. And people are writing open letters to Nayan, to Robindro, to Anu, to Masha, which I think is so
So
beautiful. It's
lovely.
pop art happening. People are, drawing them, painting them, or
Love.
creating Tribhanga titles. I am really amazed by the kind of response I've got.
Has it set you thinking about a possible series or a possible sort of sequel? Why not?
Not really. I was very happy to have purged myself of Tribhanga actually,
I
because
believe so. I
I've
believe you have been
yeah,
carrying this with
yeah,
you
I've been
since.
carrying it for the longest time, and
Yeah.
I felt that unless I make this film, I don't think I can move on to any other thing, because I had really pursued this for a very long time. So I don't know. I want to explore other characters. I want to explore other thoughts, and I want to explore other philosophies that I have in me,
Hmm.
which are close to me, perhaps. So that's not something that I'm looking at,
Hmm.
but you never know.
You never know. You also adapted your mother's work for a film. How was that process different from this? This, of course, is your original.
Yes. No, that was, I think, easier for me. My mother had made it easy because her characters again were so finely etched.
Right.
And it's not all novels lend themselves to an adaptation, to a screenplay. It's a very difficult thing. But the way Rita is written, I think it is extremely adaptable,
Right.
as a screenplay or even as a series. So
Right.
that helped me out a lot, and also because I have taken only certain aspects of it,
Right.
an essence. There are many films which can be made on that novel, but
Right.
I have chosen to make my film over one. And the total trust that my mother showed me as the writer of the book, okay, go ahead and experiment, and we'll see how it works out.
Right.
And
Right.
then I could actually work on the script and take my time over it. And once she approved, then I felt, yeah, okay, I'm in the right place, because I think basically the character was something that I wanted to bring out the best, and that also has three women
Yeah.
who are
Exactly.
related, and
Yeah.
yeah, one is a
I think
friend.
you
Yeah,
start with that.
trilogy. I think
Yeah.
is
Just the last two questions, Renuka, because I've been
yeah.
told to wrap up. One, I was just thinking, and this someone actually tweeted. I don't know what you think, but a lot of people tweeted that it could also have been Kajal's life because she also had a very strong mother, a very strong grandmother. So I wonder, Kajal could have been Masha as well.
No, yeah, maybe, but I think Kajol can't be Anu in real life. Ek to she doesn't curse, and she's a very different person. She has a very close relationship with her mother and had with her grandmother.
Grandmother.
So in that sense, I don't think that matches at all. But
Huh.
she because she's such an intelligent actor,
Yeah.
she can definitely feel what could have happened exactly the way that I felt, and I wrote it, that what if that core wasn't there, what
Right.
if that relationship with my mother wasn't there,
Right.
then
Right.
what? So
Yeah,
yeah,
because
definitely.
in many ways, you and she are alike. You both have very strong
Yeah,
mothers.
yeah, absolutely, and unconventional.
Yes, you can say that. And I was just thinking if Jerry thought that he was Millen.
I must ask him that, though he's really like Tribhanga, I must say.
Okay.
So, but I
Because
must
at the
ask him that.
because at the end of the day, Millen comes across as a sweet guy. But
He
I mean,
is.
in the
He
beginning,
is.
it's a pain. I
Yeah.
was just wondering whether Jerry Pinto thought that, Renuka has
Wow,
taken
I must
liberties
ask
with
him.
my life. And my absolutely last question, Renuka. So, how do you laugh like that, and how do you keep that going? What really is the secret of that?
Kaveri, I just love, I mean, laughter. I just love happiness.
Right.
And for me, luckily, I am born looking at things in a positive way, let
Right.
me say. And this has something to do with the nature that you're born with. It's
Yeah.
not acquired, it comes naturally to me. And that's such a big blessing, that I can look at the
Absolutely.
positive things. And I have a wicked sense of humor too. So then I have a lot of things to laugh about and at.
Right. This is wonderful. Thank you so much. And this is so good because I think the world has seen you and that
Hum aapke
your
hain kaun.
Hum Aapke Hain
Yeah.
Kaun character is such a powerful one that it's sort of overtaken the real you. And the
Oh.
real you is quite different, I think.
That's true. That's true. I think the real me does come about in my social media
Yeah.
handles.
And the real you would not have fallen down the staircase like that. You would have done something or risen up or, done something to make sure Madhuri doesn't have to marry your husband or
Yeah.
I think anyway, but that too was a great experience, right?
Oh my God,
It
it
was
was.
sort of it made you
Absolutely, absolutely. And it
a
still does have
phenomenon.
the audience. It's phenomenal to be a part of that kind of film which has made history and which has continued to, kind of make people fall in love with it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
both Surabhi and that have really defined you in a way.
Yes, yes, yes. I would say that definitely, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. And I hope now Tribhanga is the one that redefines you for a new set of moviegoers. And I hope you will do much more work in a shorter period of time. No
Yeah, yeah.
such long gaps.
I promise.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for a wonderful film. I think it was cathartic for many people, including me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kaveri. Thank you.
Bye.